All right, recording started.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a special behind the book episode of Friends in Fiction for New York Times bestselling authors, Endless Stories. I'm Kristy Woodson Harvey, author of 11 novels, including the forthcoming A Happier Life. Oh, that's wrong. A Happier Life. And on behalf of my Friends in Fiction co-founders and co-hosts, Kristen Harmel, Mary Kay Andrews, and Patty Callahan Henry, I am so excited to welcome you to a special installment of Friends in Fiction where we take a peek behind the curtain into the world of storytelling. For anyone who is not familiar with Friends in Fiction, we have a web show and podcast where we welcome incredible guests every week. We host an online community of devoted readers, more than 250,000 members strong. In action since 2020, we pride ourselves on being the kindest corner of the internet, where their love of stories, booksellers, and librarians takes center stage, and where once you're a member, you'll never have to wonder, what should I read next, ever again. So today, I'm so thrilled and honored to welcome Devon Sorvari, the incredible actress and audiobook narrator who just so happens to be Keaton in the audio production of A Happier Life. Devon's theater credits include Elaine Robinson in the first national tour of The Graduate and nationwide productions at Lincoln Center, Mark Taper Forum, South Coast Rep, the Alley Theater, the Cape Playhouse, Philadelphia Theater Company, and many, many more. Her television credits include Honor Huntsberger on CW's Gilmore Girls, Heather Blue on CBS's The Mentalist, Stella on NBC's ER, and Shirley on ABC's All My Children. She also has many film credits. She was born in Ontario, Canada, and raised in Massachusetts, and spent a dozen glorious years in New York City before setting up camp in Los Angeles. She is also a 5-time Earphones Award-winning and Audie Award-nominated actor and narrator of more than 300 titles across a wide array of genres, including literary fiction, YA, fantasy, and self-development with both Big Five and independent publishers. When not reading in her padded room, she seeks out prize-winning and shortlisted literary fiction and marvels at the way these writers have with words. So thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so honored to have you on the Friends in Fiction stage.
I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Great. So, as I mentioned, I am so thrilled that you read Keaton and A Happier Life, and it's an honor to have such an accomplished actor and narrator do that. So, can you just start out by telling us a little bit about how you got into audiobook narration specifically?
Yeah, I'm a member of a classical theater company in Los Angeles called the Antaeus Company. And I was in the office. I answered the phone one day. It was an audiobook producer looking for a different actress's number. And I said, well, I'll give it to you if you let me audition too. And I didn't get that one. She did, but I got the next one. So it was just like right place, right time. And but the reason they were calling the theater is they figure if you can do Shakespeare, you can probably read a book. So yeah, so it's all thanks to being in the theater all the time.
I love that. That's so cool. So when you're approaching a new character in a book that you're narrating, how do you decide on the voice? And do you have any kind of like process for creating that sound, or is it just very natural for you?
Well, the protagonist is always going to sound pretty much like me. I can't not sound like me for an entire book, and it would be exhausting, and it wouldn't be consistent. But I guess even though it'll sound like my voice, it's the character's experience and what they want, what they're afraid of, their obstacles, their goals. That all changes how you express yourself. Mm-hmm. So it's really, I guess, what the character wants and needs and fears that shapes what comes out of this.
I love that. That's great. So have you had any hurdles or challenges while you're doing this? Like, have you ever lost your voice, or how do you keep your voice in shape? And when you're working on a book, how many hours are you reading at a time?
Well, there's so many questions in one. I usually read for 6 hours a day. You drink so much water. That's the number one thing, I guess. But, general taking care of your voice and not yelling. And my husband had a film screen in the Beverly Hills Film Festival this week, and there were parties, and I was like, oh my God, I have to record tomorrow. But sometimes you get sometimes you can't record. Sometimes life happens and you do yell at the party, or you get a cold or COVID.
Yes.
So we're constantly, all narrators are like quick to cancel on plans if they have a cold, because you can't give the cold to the entire narrating community or everyone will hate you forever. So just, it's interesting. I've had other jobs where you can work with a cold, not this job.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. Well, I even think like when I go on tour, I just went on tour with Mary Kay Andrews, who's another one of our authors. It wasn't even my tour, but I was with her for a few days, just, talking all the time. And when there are crowds at the end and you're signing their books and you kind of tend to yell at everyone. And I feel like even after just a couple of days, like I've completely, like I lose my voice. And so I think about, how difficult that would be to maintain, your voice all the time. So that's very interesting.
We constantly thinking about it, constantly trying to take care of it and, make good choices.
Yes, I love that. Okay, so as someone with 11 books and now 11 audiobooks also, I should know more about the process of actually bringing an audiobook to life, but I really don't. So I just was wondering, can you walk us through like how that process works? And I think in particular, I'm wondering, so for example, like in A Happier Life, where there are 3 narrators, are you reading your part individually and then it's being put together with the other 2, or are you together when you're reading?
In most cases, including in this case, I just read my bits in my own padded room. Cassandra and Fred read their bits in their own padded rooms, and then it gets put together. There are some books that are done sort of live theater style or duet narrations where the male and female narrator are in the room together. I've never done one of those. That sounds super confusing.
I think
So
that
for
would
me,
be hard. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just, for one thing, one person makes unbelievable amounts of noise, even though you're trying not to. Your chair creaks or, something. When there's multiple people, there's just more opportunity for like unwanted noises. Anyway, not my deal. So we all read the whole book, prep the whole book, make sure that we understand all the characters and the arc and the tone of the whole book. But yeah, we just read our own bits all by ourselves.
Okay, well, that was my next question. So you do read the whole book before you go in. You aren't just diving into your part.
Oh, 100%. The book tells you how to do it. So you have to know the whole book. You have to know like the plot points or the emotional highs and lows, even if it's not in a section that you're doing. For example, if it's like a big emotional scene came before you, you just have to know that coming in.
Sure.
Even though there are different people who wouldn't know this about the other person, as a narrator, we are putting together one cohesive piece. So you have to know the flow and it's interesting. It's an interesting, it's like, it's almost collaborative, except it's not, because there's no one there but yourself. Right. But you do the prep ahead of time. You talk to your fellow narrators and make sure you're all on the same page.
Well, it sounds a little bit like co-writing, where you're passing something back and forth. Like you're not actually sitting in a room together, but what the person has done before you really informs what you're going to do next. So that's interesting. Like it's collaborative, but not. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about your acting career? You have so many incredible credits to your name. You've done so much work on theater and on screen. And was that something that you always wanted to do? Can you tell us about how you got into acting a little bit?
Oh, no, I was 100% that kid. I always wanted to do it. Apparently when I was 3, I was the lead naughty elephant in the ballet recital. Like I came out like this. I just always wanted to perform. And I was lucky. When I was 11, I was taking acting and singing classes at the Center for Performing Arts in Acton, Massachusetts. And my acting teacher knew a guy who was casting a play and they needed a kid. And it was an equity production. So I got my union card at 11.
Wow.
Yeah, I was so lucky.
That's so cool.
And
Well,
then,
and talented. You're talented too. Talented and lucky. I do think that, I mean, I say that too about writing, that I think there are a lot of good writers, but there's always a little bit of luck that like something just you happen to be in the right place and you meet the right person and whatever happens. But so obviously your parents were very supportive of your dream.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, when I think, of course, as a kid, I didn't think about it. I was like, of course you'll drive me into Boston 6 days a week for rehearsals. Why wouldn't you? What do you have, your own life? Please. So yes, they were incredibly supportive and sort of mind-bogglingly so. So
That's
I was
incredible.
lucky there too.
Yeah. Okay. And so you went to school for acting, right?
Yes, I went to NYU.
Okay. That's great. That's amazing. So, people who are listening to this, if they are not new to Friends in Fiction or me, they probably know that I'm a big, huge Gilmore Girls fan, which I have told you. And I'm letting everyone out there know that I did reach out to Devin and I was like, I'm a huge Gilmore Girls fan. Can we talk about Gilmore Girls? And I also have to say, this is so funny. My publicist called me earlier today about something else. And she let me know that Kelly, who played Emily Gilmore, is actually in the Simon & Schuster offices today talking about her new book.
Oh my
And I was
God.
like, that's really weird. We're having like a whole Gilmore Girls day here today. But
Amazing.
how can you talk a little bit about how you got that part and how you were kind of led into that one in particular?
Yeah, I mean, I had not been in LA for very long, and um, I was auditioning a lot. I was going out on 2 pilot auditions a week, which I don't know. So sounds like a lot now. Um, and so this was just like one that came along, but I was particularly excited about it because I was already a fan of the show.
Okay, so you're
So
already a fan of the show then. That's
yeah,
interesting.
I had watched
Okay.
it and I was like, that's the show for me. That's finally a show. Like if I ever get on that, they won't tell me that I'm talking too fast. um, so,
I mean, if anyone's going to compete with Lauren
I
Graham.
know. So I was beyond nervous at the audition because I cared so much. But it worked. It played into this scene, and I got the job. And they did tell me to slow down when I got on set. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I talked too fast for Gilmore Girls. But it was amazing. It was amazing. It was such a great gig. That was really my first real TV gig, and then they called again and again and again. I did 4 episodes, and each time it was like I'd won the lottery. It was very, very exciting.
I love that. Do you have any favorite memories from filming that?
Oh, I mean,
Pick one.
it was a really good time the whole time. I guess the wedding episode was really fun. That was really, really fun. And my now friend for life, Valerie Campbell, who was the costume supervisor, on-set costume supervisor, that's probably the wrong title, but she had to carry my train around wherever I went because it couldn't get dirty and we were on the lot. And so I had to go to the restroom. And so she had to carry the train into the bathroom and I was like, the glamorous life.
It's like a real life wedding scene. I mean, it's like when you're actually and you're in your wedding gown and you have to go to the bathroom and sorry, somebody's going to have to come and hold your dress up and you're going to have
It's
to
a team effort, girls. It's team effort.
I love that episode too. That one kind of stands out to me as well. That must have been really, really fun.
It was great. Yeah.
Okay, so people out there, if you have not watched Gilmore Girls, I'm about to ask a spoiler question. And also, if you haven't watched it, you need to go watch it right now because it's the best show. And I'm so jealous of you that you get to start from the beginning. But Devin, I have to ask you.
I hope I know the answer. I didn't see the whole entire show. Okay, go on.
Okay. No, you'll know. Do you think that Rory should have married Logan at the end of the series when he proposed to her? Your fake brother.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
All
right.
I did watch. I didn't watch that last season. to be honest.
Okay.
But I did watch A Year in the Life because there's a fan festival that I've participated in for the past 2 years.
Okay.
And I was like, I should probably like brush up on this show. It's been a while.
Yeah.
So I watched A Year in the Life on the plane over.
Okay.
And by the end of that, I was like, oh, Logan. I think I was back firmly on Team Logan by the end of, even though it's complicated, I know, controversial, don't hate me.
No, I am Team Logan too. I know it is controversial, but I am Team Logan too. And that's what I was thinking of is at the end of A Year in the Life, I was kind of like, I wonder how her life would have turned out if she'd married Logan at the end and just accepted his marriage proposal, and would they have been happier? Who knows? But I will have to say, someone asked me when A Year in the Life was coming out to write an essay about my predictions for A Year in the Life. And I was like, I think Rory is going to write a novel. I was like, oh my God, I nailed it.
Amazing.
So funny. Okay. Well, so speaking of books, coming back to that, do you have a favorite novel or a favorite author or just something that like stands out to you that you really enjoy?
I've been on a massive Hanya Yanagihara kick lately. I read A Little Life years ago and it like
such a good one.
Completely destroyed and then it reinvented me, and I was like, okay. So then I just read To Paradise, and then I just read The People in the Trees. So that's my current obsession.
I love that. That's fantastic. So you're obviously an avid reader, as you mentioned in your bio. So what were the values around reading and writing in your house when you were growing up?
My mother was an English teacher, and both my parents are very intellectually curious and lifelong learners. And my dad would read to me and my brother every night after dinner. So we'd sit in the family room and he went through all of Tolkien and other series, lots of British series. But so we got used to hearing stories every night, and also that the family valued it so much that like really every night my dad would do that. So yes, the love of reading and words was instilled very young, and I'm so grateful.
I love that so much. Okay, well, so obviously this community has a lot of diehard readers and diehard audiobook fans. I don't know if you've seen this like swirling around when people say, well, do audiobooks count as reading? Oh my gosh, if anyone ever had a question about that, of course they count as reading. We have a lot of diehard audiobook fans in our audience, including me. I love an audiobook. So I know that people are going to want to follow you. Well, hopefully, I hope they listen to A Happier Life. But
yes.
Also, where can they keep up with you to find out what you're reading and what you're narrating?
I am at Devon Sorvari on Facebook and Twitter. I can't say X.
I can't. I know. It's
just and at Devon Sorvari narrator on Instagram. And so whenever I have a book coming out, I post a little thing about it. My website is just devonsorvari.com. That doesn't change very often, but yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. It was such a pleasure to talk to you. And I can't wait for everyone to listen to you as Keaton in A Happier Life and to follow along with all of the other amazing things that you're doing.
And we haven't talked enough about your amazing book, which I absolutely loved.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, that's so nice.
It was wonderful. It was such a joy to work on. And just from the very first prep read, I was like, oh, I love this book. This book it felt sort of very homey. I felt like I lived in the world, and I was sad to leave it when we finished. I absolutely loved it. And Keaton is a brilliant name for a woman. So there you go. You're brilliant.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I'm so honored. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And I have a funny story about the name Keaton, and I have not mentioned this anywhere. So this is kind of
breaking news.
It's fun that you brought that up. So I have a book called Under the Southern Sky that came out in 2019. 2020. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, the main character's name is Amelia in that book, but I had originally named her Keaton. And my editor just was not into it for whatever reason. And I was like, I don't know. I love that name. And so I was so excited to get to circle back and use it. So really little inside scoop for everybody. Amelia and Under the Southern Sky was originally Keaton. And now, but it was interesting how this Keaton, I was like, well, maybe she was right, because this Keaton really became her name to me. So
Yeah.
thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me.
Well, it was one of my favorite books of the past several months. I can't remember when I recorded it, but I can't wait to hear the whole thing and hear Cassandra and Fred and, the whole finished production.
I can't wait either. I'm so excited. And this is a little more intel for people, because we don't talk about this very much, but the audio, Simon & Schuster Audio sends us choices, when we're getting ready to, and you were my top 3 choices. So I'm so excited to just hear your beautiful voices bring this story to life. And I think for me as a writer too, listening to it, it's a completely different experience. It's like a book that I didn't write. It's just something.
Really?
Yeah, it comes to life in such a different way. And also, I don't know that I'll write a sequel or anything to this, but in books that I have, that now becomes the voice of the character to me that I hear in my head, which is kind of neat. So
cool. Yeah.
But so thank you again for doing that. And for everybody out there tuning into this interview, don't forget to join us every Wednesday night on the Friends in Fiction Facebook group page or YouTube channel, where we host a different author guest every week, or listen to our Friday podcast, available on all major podcasting platforms. You can find out everything about the Friends in Fiction universe, from our show, podcast, social media, and newsletter, to our in-person events, merch shop, and book club, all on our website at friendsinfiction.com. Thank you for tuning in. Happy reading and listening.